Tonight, the investigation into the 250 absentee ballots that a Newburgh woman said she found in her Amazon package last fall is now in the hands of the Attorney General's office.
Secretary of State Shenna Bellows giving that update today during a Veterans and Legal Affairs Committee meeting in Augusta. Bellows said the AG's office is the agency designated to bring enforcement action for election law violations.
Bellows walked lawmakers through the chain of custody system ballots and envelopes go through, as well as the checks and balances in voting procedures. According to Bellows, the same September day the woman in Newburgh said she found ballots in her mail, the city of Ellsworth reported they have received a shipment missing the same number of absentee ballots.
The investigation expanded in October when a third-party, out-of-state organization reported they believed they found Maine absentee ballot return envelopes in their mail.
What I will say is that we isolated the challenge to UPS. Something went wrong in the UPS deliveries of the ballots and the absentee ballot return envelopes. I will promise you that no one wants answers more than I do. This is a very serious matter, but I'm also confident that the checks and the balances in the system worked and that Mainers should be really proud of the 2025 election, that it was free, safe, and secure.
Secretary Bellows,
Following this issue, the state changed services from UPS to a company named Vital Delivery, which delivered the remaining ballots. Back in October, we reported an anonymous UPS employee told us the ballots were put in the wrong box by mistake.